stay tuned because for the next 60 minutes, Motorsports Unlimited is on the air. Hi, I'm Jerry Bryant, and these are the lovely ladies of motorsports. And all this hour, we're going to have 60 minutes of action-packed excitement. All kinds of exciting things will happen. And we got the famous Bill Wildt, and we got all kinds of other good stuff that's happening all this hour. Motorsports Unlimited, 60 minutes of non-stop action. So let's go to the studio right now.
Thanks, Jerry, and hi, everybody. Welcome to the studio headquarters of Chicagoland's most watched, most talked about Access television series. I'm Samantha Bentley, and this is the 1166th edition of Motorsports Unlimited. Today, we're taking you to the final car show of the 2009 Outdoor Summer Car Show season. It's the Riverside Garage Show held in picturesque Riverside, Illinois. Riverside is a western suburb of Chicago, and we know some of you had trouble finding it. So later today, we're going to provide detailed directions. Right now, we better get to the cars because it had a huge turnout, including this very special mid-50s style custom all the way from Michigan. Bill didn't want to miss.
Well, folks, we're in Riverside, Illinois, and normally, as traditionally on Motorsports Unlimited, I like to start with the guys that are putting the show on and find out a little bit about what they have in mind for it and all that. But I spotted a car that I haven't seen before at these local summer car shows, and before the owner ran away, I want to make sure we got him on camera. First of all, you are?
I'm Dave Kosman.
And where are you from, Dave?
Buchanan, Michigan.
Wow, long way.
Yeah, it took me about 2.5 hours to get here.
What brings you this way?
The Showcase Classic shows. Just the fourth weekend in a row I've been here.
Okay, this is a car I haven't seen before, so I am presuming it must be either brand new or you're new to the area.
I'm new to the area.
Tell me about it, and please start with the make, year, and model.
It's a 1953 Chevy Bel Air Sport Coupe. The car was originally built in Salina, Kansas, a little over 5.5 years ago at Bright Built Hot Rods.
Beautiful job. Give us an idea of what's all been done to it. And I suppose we should start with the engine and driveline.
Well, it's got a rebuilt engine in there. It's a 350 Chevy with a 350 turbo automatic transmission. It's been bored 30 over. The body has louvered hoods, French headlights, French tail lights. It's been lowered. It's got an R&D front clip on it with a Mustang 2 front end with disc brakes. It's got power steering, tilt, air, cruise, stereo. It's got side pipes. It's got fender skirts. It's got Briz aluminum rib bumpers front and rear. The paint is it's got 13 coats. It's tri-coat. It's candy apple red over gold pearl base, and it's got it's a House of Colors is the brand of the paint.
I'll tell you something, folks. We've talked about this on Motorsports Unlimited before. Probably the most difficult paint job you can do is a candy paint job because the candy color you see on top is actually translucent. So you're looking through a candy wrapper. If you've ever seen the kind of transparent candy wrappers, if you took one of those in red and put it over gold or over pearl white or over silver, problem is that coating better be absolutely the same thickness everywhere or it looks blotchy, and it's near impossible for anybody but a professional to do it.
That's correct. You're absolutely correct on that.
Well, it's done beautifully because we're in the bright sun and there's not a blotch in it. It's perfect. How about the interior?
The interior is all tuck and roll white vinyl, the headliner, the door panel seats, and the trunk is finished off the same way as the interior.
It's absolutely beautiful. Now, you said you drove here from Michigan or you trailered it?
No, I've never owned a trailer. In the last 6 months, on weekends only, I've put over 5,000 miles on this car. I drove 110 miles today to get here.
Who keeps it clean?
I'm the only one that works on the car.
Boy, congratulations. What a job. It looks like a show car, like it doesn't ever see anything but a trailer.
No, I've never owned a trailer. Never owned a trailer.
Okay, is there anything I've missed about your car that you think the audience would find of interest?
No, I think
you've covered it all.
You've covevered everything.
Well, first of all, welcome. I hope you're enjoying the show.
I am.
Okay, great. All the way from Michigan, and boy, what a special piece he brought us. Don't go away. We've got lots more coming.
A lot more coming is right. And the Riverside Garage Show had a full house, including a street rod that caught Bill's attention because when it pulled into the show, in addition to being a kick-butt ride, it looked like it had a double overhead cam V8 engine.
Well, I have a confession to make, folks. The man fooled me. I saw this thing rolling in. It's obviously a kick-butt traditional American street rod, but what I really liked is I saw a V8 that looked like it had a 4-valve per cylinder double overhead cam set of cylinder heads on it. I says, boy, that's my kind of stuff. The guy has really put some high-tech work into it. Turns out it's a fooler, but I want to admit he fooled me. First of all, you are.
Jerry McCouga,
Where are you from, Jerry?
Romeoville, Illinois.
Tell me about your car. Let's start with the make, year, and model, then we'll get into the rest of it.
Well, it's a 34 Ford. It's a Downs body, glass body. Pro chassis done by S&D Chassis in Barrington, and Custom Auto Specialties, John Finnegan.
So what you're saying is there's not a single part on here from a 34 Ford?
No. It's a one-off car.
And by the way, and I've talked about this many times on Motorsports Unlimited, that's exactly the way I like it, because I don't want to see us tearing up any more antique cars. There aren't any more 34 Fords around. I don't want to see somebody chopping one up to make a hot rod out of it, especially when the fact is there's so much aftermarket stuff. You can do a better job using aftermarket parts.
Absolutely, absolutely. The tires now are radial tires. Before we had bias belt tires. The car would bounce around like crazy and stuff like that.
Right, there's no sense in going and chopping up antiques, which are irreplaceable, and when we can do a better job with modern technology and all the rest, and still have the original look. Did you do any of the work yourself?
We did most of just the put together stuff. John Finnegan, like I said, at Custom Auto, did most of the body work and stuff like that.
Okay, talk to me about that engine.
Well, it's an old race engine. It's a 283 punch to 302.
And by the way, that was you would, if you were older like me, you wouldn't say 302, you'd say 301. But go ahead.
That's cool.
You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yep.
Because when I raced at O'Hare Stadium, I can tell you all the late model guys, the hot dogs, the I'm drawing a blank now, but the Gene Marmers and the guys like that, the 301, the 283 Polk and 8, the 301 was the engine to have on those racetracks. This is before the 327 came along.
Absolutely. This thing turns high RPM.
Great RPM, great motor.
RPM.
Yep.
It's all blueprinted, balanced, match ported.
So it's a smoking motor?
It's a smoking motor, yeah.
So it doesn't really need the Fuller valve covers.
No, it doesn't need them, but they look pretty good. I get a lot of questions from older guys saying, it's a camera or what is it? I don't know what it is, but we have a lot of fun with it.
And what we're talking about, folks, as you look at the picture of the engine that hopefully I'm putting over if I know how to do it, you're looking at the picture of the engine. It looks for all the world like this thing is a double overhead cam 4-valve per cylinder engine, and yet it's not. It's a typical small block Chevy that just happens to have fancy valve covers that look that way.
Absolutely.
But pretty darn nicely done set of valve
you.
covers.
I appreciate it. It's a lot of fun.
How about the interior? Anything done with that?
No, we just have some Fiero seats. We're going to start doing the interior this winter.
How long have you been working on the car?
Well, it's a long story. I had it 27 years now.
Wow, you've been working on it a long time.
No, it just sat around for a while. One time in the body shop, water was halfway up to it, so then we just decided to get going on it. My brother came in from Tucson, and my wife is really great, so here we go.
Fun project, and working with family and all that?
Absolutely. He comes in, that's all we do is work on the car.
That's cool. And by the way, I try to explain the motorsport community to people. I don't know if regular people, whatever regular people are, I don't know if they really understand this. For example, when I go and visit a friend, I would never go to the front door and knock on the door. I go to the garage. If the garage door isn't open, I just keep going.
Absolutely.
And anybody I know, that's how we do it. We visit each other in the garages because that's where we're comfortable. All the stuff that we enjoy and think about is there. And we might not do any work, might spend an hour just talking, but we're doing it in the garage.
Absolutely.
So you understand too then?
Absolutely. That's what we look for.
Yeah, it's really, I don't know if general public really appreciates exactly why I don't know why we're like that, but I know we are.
It's just bugged the cars from when I was a kid. Everything, my brother started me and that was it.
It hasn't changed since I was a 16-year-old. Anyhow, is there anything I've missed about your car you're proud of, you'd like the audience to know about?
No, it's a wonderful car. I appreciate you coming out and having me the time here.
Well, after you fooled me, I had to do that. It was the least I could do. Once again, folks, if you think there's nothing new under the sun, you've got to come to these local summer car shows. You'll be amazed at what you find.
You sure will. Hi, I'm May Chin, and before we go any further, let's take a moment to talk with one of the principals who created and helps run this annual event.
Every year I struggle with what to call the show. I always call it the Riverside Show, but it's actually, as I understand it, the Riverside Garage Show. And behind me, we have the historic Riverside Garage. When I say historic, as I understand it, it's been around since 1938 in pretty much the same condition. First of all, you are.
Yeah, I'm Rick Ravella from Riverside Garage.
And do I have it about right?
Yeah, the garage has been since 1930.
1930, even older than I thought.
Yes, it is.
Okay, now there's one. Now is it the Riverside Show or the Riverside Garage Show?
Well, it's the Riverside Garage Show. We started it more years than I can remember. That's about what we've been calling it, and it's been working. So.
And what a turnout you've got today. There's not a place to put another car.
We're going to keep on putting them because a lot of people are coming from far away, so we're going to try to get everybody in.
So you try as hard as you can to accommodate
yes,
everybody
we
wants
do.
to.
We could try to get everybody in here.
Okay, we got to solve one thing. You would not believe the number of emails I've gotten, and it happens every year after the Riverside show, of people that cannot find this place. And I've got a solution for it, but I want to say it correctly on the air and put a map up so people can see it. You know, the problem with Riverside is that there are no straight streets.
Yeah, there isn't one straight street here.
Yeah, and as aesthetically pleasing as that is, it's terrible for trying to find your way around.
Oh, yeah, it's a little bit difficult, but I've got arrows out on every major street to turn.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Let me tell you what the key, because I don't live in Riverside, so I can tell you the key to finding this place. And the key to finding this place is Des Plaines Avenue.
Yeah, that helps. Des Plaines helps.
If you try to find it from Harlem, you won't find it.
No, your best bet, though, go to Brookfield Zoo. If you get to the zoo, we're right by Brookfield Zoo.
Okay, I'm not going to let them do this because I really took the time to figure this thing out this year, and I want to put a map up showing you how to do this. Des Plaines Avenue, there's an exit off the Eisenhower Expressway for Des Plaines Avenue. Don't try to do it from Harlem, whatever you do. Try to do it from you have to do it from Des Plaines Avenue. When you get on Des Plaines Avenue, you take it south, and here's where it gets confusing.
Yeah.
It's not Des Plaines Avenue here.
No, it isn't.
Okay, Des Plaines Avenue becomes what?
I believe it's Woodside. I think.
Woodside. Well,
Yeah.
it's your street.
Yeah, there's so many streets, I even get lost.
Okay, it's
after a while.
Woodside. Well, we got to tell them right. It's Woodside. Des Plaines Avenue becomes Woodside just about the time you get into Riverside, and it also is no longer straight like Des Plaines Avenue was.
No, there's a little bit of curves there, but you know what? If you keep on going as far as you can, it's going to finally bottom out at Forest, and that is the street you want to turn on.
Well,
So-
I'm gonna say it's gonna bottom out at the railroad tracks. How does that sound?
Yeah, that's close enough. So
Okay, so
if
when
you
you
get there, we'll get you in.
If you get to the railroad tracks, you can't miss this, right?
No, you can't.
All right, but the key to trust me, from a guy from the outside, the real key to finding this place is getting on Des Plaines Avenue.
Yeah, that helps, but I'm telling you, First Avenue works really good. I've got arrows on all the streets. You guys come, you could get here. There'll be
Okay.
no problem.
Okay, well, like I say, trust me, I know because he's an insider. He doesn't know how complicated it is for people from the outside. I do. Des Plaines Avenue becomes Woodside.
Yeah.
Woodside, and it takes you right to these railroad tracks, and there's no way you can miss it then because there's cars parked all over the place. Anyhow, is there anything else we want to tell the folks before we get on here? Something that you're proud of in the show, or?
Just that we're having another beautiful day, and I hope everybody decides to make it one of these years.
I don't think you guys have had a rainout, have you?
Not yet.
They have unbelievable weather. If people are looking to plan car shows, you better look at what dates these guys get because these guys, you guys are really lucky.
Yeah, we have been lucky.
Okay, we're going to get back to the cars now. I want you to be, and you're the kind of a principal guy putting this together, right?
Yeah, I kind of put everything together, try to make sure everything's here on time.
Okay, my friend. Once again, folks, Des Plaines Avenue, that's the key to the whole thing, even though in his work it's complicated, even though it's not Des Plaines Avenue in Riverside, but trust me, Des Plaines Avenue is the key.
We should also mention the Riverside Garage Show is organized by our old friend Bob Gamboa and Showcase Classics with the additional help of the pride of Hobart, Indiana, Bruce Granzo. Now back to the cars, or should I say trucks, because look at the show-stopping truck Bill found.
Well, don't think for a minute it's just about cars, because I found an exquisite truck. What a work of art. First of all, you are?
John Wesensius,
And where are you from?
Chicago.
Please tell me about your truck and start with the make, year, and model, then we'll do the rest.
Okay, it's a 1938 Chevy half-ton pickup, and I owned it since 1974.
Long time.
My first vehicle,
How old were you when you got it?
18.
Did it look like this when you bought it?
No way. No, it was maroon in color.
It was kind of a typical kid's low buck vehicle.
Exactly, right.
And over the years, you've done a little at a time, or you decided at some point, I want to redo the truck.
Well, I had started it, and I didn't finish it. I had it done.
Boy, I'll tell you what, that's a common story of people that don't finish them, but usually they just end up finding their way to the junkyard. You apparently sucked up your pride and said, I'm going to have somebody else do it.
Exactly.
Tell me about it. What have they done?
Well, it's Ferrari red paint. It has a stainless steel exhaust. It has air conditioning, power locks, power windows, 302 Chevy, 1969, Turbo 400 trans.
Interior?
Interior is a tan in color, Naugahyde.
Done by?
Midwest Hot Rods.
Okay, and who did the bed?
Midwest Hot Rods also did the bed.
Okay, beautifully done. How long did it take to turn it into this kind of shape?
They had it for 5 years.
Yeah, this is something that you don't do in a few months.
Oh, no, by no means. No, definitely.
And what do you do with the truck now?
Well, just for the weekends, I just show it. During the week, it sits in the garage. I clean it.
Okay, yeah, because it's a showpiece now.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, are you happy with it?
Oh, it's my baby.
It's just your baby, huh?
Yeah.
How old are you now?
53.
And you were 16, you said, when you got it?
18.
18 when you got it?
Yes.
Did you enjoy it more then or more now? Or different?
I have to say more now because it was probably apart for like 33 years.
Okay, yeah,
You know,
right. Yeah.
You know, I appreciate it more, you know.
Okay, is there anything that I've missed on your truck that you're particularly proud of you'd like the audience to know about?
No, that's about it. We covered
Okay.
it.
Beautiful piece, and once again, folks, when you go to these local summer car shows, it's not just about cars, it's trucks, it's motorcycles, it's dune buggies, it's just about anything that you can think of.
Bill's right about that. I'm new to car shows, and I'm always surprised at what you get to see, including the next car, which is really representative of the cars that brought sports car to the attention of the American public following World War II.
Before I go any farther, folks, I just want to mention we are right now standing in the shadow of one of these beautiful antique water towers that really kind of typifies Riverside. Riverside has got to be one of the prettiest suburbs in the entire Chicagoland area. It's so picturesque. The way we were teasing before about there's not a straight street in Riverside, it's true, and it makes it very difficult to find your way around. But on the other hand, aesthetically pleasing is hardly the word, and these antique water towers just sort of, I don't know, kind of make a statement about Riverside. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous community. And look what I found here standing in the shadow. First of all, you are.
Carlos Navarro,
Where are you from, Carlos?
Riverside.
Oh, you're from Riverside.
Yes, I am.
Tell me about your car. Start with the make, year, and model, then we'll get into the rest.
Okay, it's a 1948 MGTC. And the neat thing about it, well, that's what it is.
Well, the neat thing about it is the huge wire wheels.
The huge wire wheels. This is a car that my dad's been working on with me for the last 5 years to get it to this condition. We actually took delivery of it about 3 weeks ago. So this is the first show that it's been in.
Now, wait a minute. You've been working on it for how many years?
Five and a half years.
So what do you mean took delivery on it?
The fellow who's been doing most of the work, Bob Streeter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And so what kind of condition was it in when you got it?
It was in boxes. It was in boxes, and it was in really, really rough shape.
All right, this is one of my favorite MGs, and the reason it's one of my favorites is because I'm not kidding about the big wire wheels. MG went through several periods in their lifespan, the TC, the TD, the TF, and so on and so forth, before they got to the MGAs and all that sort of thing. And anything earlier, like the TC, they really were too antique to really drive and do it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But this one, you can actually drive.
Absolutely, and a little bit of history on that. When I was in grade school, I read the book The Red Car.
I read it too. I know the book.
That's the car. This is the car.
It's not red.
Well, my dad's got a 49 that is a red one. This is a 48 that's clearly green. But that red car as a kid is what drove me to get my dad involved with the Vintage MG Car Club. And that was many decades ago, but the rest is history. He has his. With his help, I now have mine. And the other neat thing about this car is that we have the original registration for the car back in 1948 through 1962. This car was in the UK, and we can see who owned it, what they paid in pounds for taxes every year on it. So you actually see the provenance for the car. It's
Well, now I'm going to test you. You say you do work on the car?
At this point, the work that I do is more writing checks on the car.
Do you have a set of Wentworth spanners?
I do not, and I know what you're talking about.
I do.
Wow, so you know quite a lot about these cars.
Triumph motorcycles.
Okay.
Tell the audience what Wentworth spanners are.
Well, they're the wrenches for working on this car, which is it's not the English measurement.
Yeah, well, it's the weirdest thing because America, of course, right now has its own system, the American measurement system,
Right.
And the rest of the world does metric, but not the British. They did Wentworth.
It's a little off, so yes.
So those of us that worked on motorcycles and cars back in the 50s and 60s, we had to have a set of metric tools, a set of American tools, and a set of Wentworth tools, and you know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
Okay, engine and transmission. What have we got here?
It's a 1250 cc engine.
Four-cylinder.
Four-cylinder. It's a 4-speed. Synchros on second, third, and fourth.
No synchro on first.
No synchro on first. By the way, the mechanical condition of this car is just as good as the appearance. It's perfect.
Well, you sound like the right people to have it. Is there anything I've missed on your car that you're particularly proud of you'd like the audience to know about?
The dashboard was done by an artist in the UK. He worked on it for a couple of months. We sent him the instruments and the old facade, and it came back. All the instruments were rebuilt.
Everything works?
Everything works.
They didn't work brand new.
No.
I'm serious.
Yeah, but this is the result of probably, I'd say, a dozen what I'll call artists that my dad has known through the years that he called on to put it together. Because that's what it takes to put one of these things together. You need to know people who remember how to do these things. And
you're exactly right, and many of the skills are being lost. I mean, we're lucky in the hot rod community. I'll bet there aren't a dozen people in the United States that can do a good job with an English wheel, and you need that kind. That's how these things were built originally.
Right.
So,
right.
Anyhow, I want to thank you for spending a little
Okay.
time with us. It's a great car. Do you actually use it, or does it just get parked and shown?
I will be using it, take it to work every now and then, and just enjoy it.
I
Yes.
hope so, because this, once again, folks, the advantage of this particular year MG, it has the antique flavor and the huge wire wheels from the antique days, but it has enough modern engineering in it that you really could use it even today.
We're not sure why, but the Riverside Garage Show often draws exquisite early British sports cars. This isn't the first classic MG we've encountered at the Riverside Show. Whatever the reason, they're there. It pleases us greatly, and we try to take advantage of it and present them to you. Let's continue on the theme with an outstanding Austin Healey 3000.
Well, let's see how my memory is from back in the mid-50s. My perception at the time was that when you looked at the MGs were kind of the low-priced of the foreign sports cars. The Jaguars were the expensive ones, and the Austin Healey fell right about in the middle. The Austin Healey was much cooler for one reason, and we'll get to that in a minute. First of all, we're going to find out about it, right? And who are you?
Ray Navarro.
Where are you from?
I live in Riverside for 41 years. I was originally from Mexico.
Originally from Mexico. Now, did you hear what I said about the MGs were the low-priced ones, the Jaguars were the expensive ones, and the Austin Healey was in the middle? Do I have it right?
You are right on the dot.
Okay, and
Yes.
one of the reasons was because the Austin Healey had a 6-cylinder engine where the MGs had 4 cylinders.
That is correct.
On the other hand, the Austin Healey was an overhead valve 6-cylinder, whereas the Jaguar was a double overhead cam 6-cylinder.
That is absolutely right.
But none of them were quite as sexy looking as the Austin Healey 3000. Agreed?
Well, I agree with you. Another thing, too, is that the Healey was a lighter car to handle. You know, it was the car felt peppier, felt easier to handle than the Jaguar.
Right, the Jaguar is a bigger, heavier car. Sure.
I love the Jaguar.
I love all of them too. Don't misunderstand.
It's a beautiful car,
yeah.
and I wish I had one.
Sure.
But it's a heavier car to drive. But because it's a heavier car.
However, what did the Austin Healey 3000 have that the other ones didn't? Here's a test. The coolest exhaust pipes. Am I right? Am I right?
I agree with you. You're good.
I used to see these things going down the road with those 2 exhaust sights spitting the back out the one side. I thought it was so cool looking, and I think you know what I'm talking about.
Yes, sir. Yes,
okay,
sir.
and how about the trans in this one? Is this an overdrive?
It's an overdrive, 4-speed with overdrive.
Fully synchro or non-synchro first?
Non-synchro first.
Non-synchro. Didn't they have one at the final days, the last of the Austin Healeys, it was all synchro but with an overdrive?
Oh, this is supposed to be that car.
But
Because
the synchro is no good.
This is the last car that they made. And
well, matter of fact, before you go any farther, make, year, and model.
It's a 1967 BJ8 and Austin Healey.
Austin Healey 3000.
3000.
Okay, and the big thing back then, I remember when they came out with it, was the 4-speed overdrive, because the earlier ones didn't have overdrive.
The early cars, well, even the early cars had overdrive, but they only had 3-speed with overdrive.
Okay, again, my memory is faded. This is from
you're
years ago,
right,
you know.
Right, it was 4-speed with overdrive, but it was 3-speed because the first gear was so low that they black it, so there was only 3-speed and overdrive.
And the Austin Healeys were also cool because they had wire wheels.
Yes, sir.
But there was one thing I used to think about this. Believe it or not, I thought about this in high school. I'd look at the magazines and I'd draw pictures and all that, and I'd always go back to the MGs and the Triumph TR3s. As much as I like the body shape of the Austin Healey and I like the 4-speed with overdrive and I like the 6-cylinder and all that, The problem was it didn't have the cut-down doors. It had the straight. You know what I'm talking about? It had the roll-up windows with the straight.
You're right. You're right.
And that, to me, you missed something in the driving experience.
The original sport car to me was the TC.
The TC, where the doors are cut down so you can stick your elbows out.
And you sit and you can you can touch the ground.
Touch the okay, you get it. You're the right guy to have these cars. I'll tell you. You appreciate them. You really do.
I love the cars. And this is a my wife feels it's a sickness, but I love them.
Oh, it's a sickness, but I welcome the sickness. Is there anything we've missed about your car you're proud of? You'd like the audience to know?
No, you are quite knowledgeable. The only thing that I would mention is that this car was a frame-off restoration.
Did you do any of the work?
No, I
had it done.
I had it done.
Okay.
But we took the car completely apart. It was all frame-off.
And what do you do with it now?
Enjoy it.
Yeah. Strictly shows, or do you actually drive it?
No. I drive the car.
That's
I
great.
Drive the car.
These cars should be driven.
These cars were made to be driven.
You're exactly right.
I don't have trailer queens or anything like that. I like to use my cars, so that's...
Well, I want to thank you for spending a little time with us. This is a great car.
It's
not often that you have an opportunity to see an absolutely original condition Austin Healey 3000 4-speed with overdrive. Believe me, if you were my age, you'd really appreciate a car like this.
We're not quite done with the British sports cars on display at the Riverside show. The next one became famous for its Ford connection, but its origins were pure British two-seaters.
Also part of this British sports car corner is a Sunbeam Alpine. And the poor little Sunbeam Alpine doesn't get the respect that it's really entitled to, and we're going to find out all about that. And first of all, you are?
Bill Kernan.
Where are you from, Bill?
Riverside, Illinois.
Tell me about your car, and start with the make, year, model, then we'll talk about the respect.
It is a 1967 Sunbeam Alpine made by Sunbeam Talbot Limited in England.
And was the car in this shape when you got it, or did you have to put it in this condition?
I had to put it in this condition.
Did you do any of the work yourself?
All except for the inside of the engine. I had that done by a good machine shop.
Okay, and you did the rest of the work yourself. How long did it take you?
Well, I did it during the winters for about 7 years.
Well, listen, I'll tell you something. Your work is beautiful because the car looks great. Now, I talked a little bit about the Sunbeam Alpine not getting the kind of respect it deserves. What do you think I'm talking about?
The Sunbeam Tigers with the Ford V8 in them garner almost all the respect. I mean, they're hot cars.
Right. Tell the audience what that was about.
A Sunbeam Tiger was put together by Carroll Shelby. And Mr. Shelby, at the behest of trying to do something to get the sales of the Alpines or the car up to where it belonged, dropped in a 260 cubic inch Ford V8 engine into them, and changed the suspension, some of the internal supports, and it turned into one really hot car.
You're exactly right. As a matter of fact, this was at the time, folks, you may or may not remember that Ford came out with their new thin wall small block V8 in 1962. It was 221 cubic inches. Most people have forgotten that. It later became 260, then 289, then 302, then 351, and all the rest of it. And the thing that was interesting about that is that V8 came out exactly how many years after the original flathead Ford, which came out in 32? This was 62. Do the math. They can do it themselves, right?
Yeah, they can do it themselves.
Okay, the point is, this little Sunbeam Alpine, the exact same looking car with the name Alpine, or the name Tiger under the Alpine, all of a sudden became an American hot rod.
Oh yeah, it's also worth 4 times as much as this one is.
Right, and the fact of the matter is, at this point, then the Europeans, of course, shunned it because, you know, how unpolite it was to smoke the tires and things like that when you had to be concerned more about its delicate road manners, right?
That is absolutely true.
That's right, and so the poor Sunbeam Alpine, from which the Tiger was derived, sort of got brushed aside into the dustbin of history.
Took second fiddle, however, it handles a hell of a lot better.
There you go. And as a matter of fact, here's a man before we went on was saying that he says the one thing about the Alpine you think is a far superior car to the Tiger because it handles so much better. The V8 changed the car's manners completely.
It totally changed. It's front end heavy, and it plows into turns, whereas this will just go through a turn. This thing here will still do a 4-wheel drift. I don't know of any Tiger that's ever been able to do a 4-wheel drift.
No, they did 2-wheel drifts with the rear wheel smoking.
Boy, they sure did. They're hot cars. They're very nice machines.
Very hot cars, but it kind of lost the ambiance of the MG, Austin, Healey, Jaguar.
The British car
the
syndrome.
British car syndrome. They sort of lost all that and became an American hot rod.
It did, and they're still wonderful cars. They're hot cars.
And so is the Alpine, and you want people to know that.
Yes, I do.
What engine do you have in here?
It's a 1725cc engine, or
Four-cylinder?
It was 4-cylinder until I had to overhaul the engine. I had to bore it out.
You smoked it a little bit.
Well, they said I needed to go 20 thousandths over on the pistons to get new ones in there, and I said, how far can you take it? And they said, we can get it out to 60.
You're a hot rodder yourself.
Well, it's got a stage 2 cam because I needed one of those. It's balanced. The intake system is ported, polished, and shot peened. And I took 7 pounds off the flywheel.
And what kind of trans?
It's a regular Sunbeam
4-speed?
4-speed with overdrive.
Okay, is it a synchro first gear?
Absolutely.
Synchro first gear, and does it hold up the additional power you put in?
Absolutely.
Well, listen, is there anything I missed about your car you're proud of you'd like the audience to know?
It's just a great car that's fun to drive.
There you go. My kind of guy. He really does appreciate the advantages of a car that doesn't have so much power. It kept its beautiful road manners.
Speaking of power and road manners, Bill, May, and Art, who were working on location at the Riverside Garage Show, couldn't just pass by the next car without taking a closer look.
I think I said earlier that you just never know what you find at these local summer car shows. Well, take a look. This is one of those you never know what you're going to find. First of all, you are.
I'm Stephen Grucius from LaGrange, Illinois.
Tell me about your car. Start with the make, year, and model.
It's a 1981 Sebring Vanguard commuter car.
So this is actually a production vehicle.
Back in the 70s, it was the first commercially made electric vehicle.
Okay, and this was a car that was going to revolutionize motoring?
Well, I don't know about revolutionizing, but it was a great commuter car.
Okay, first of all, what year did you say it was?
It's a 1981. It ran, this car ran from, the first model was called a city car. And that ran from 73 to 76, and then the company went bankrupt. Then they went from 76 to 81, and this is a 1981.
Okay, obviously you couldn't still possibly have 1981 batteries in here. You must have replaced them with something. How did you replace them?
Everything is standard off the shelf. This is a very low voltage vehicle. It's 8 6-volt golf cart batteries.
Okay, so this wasn't one that required any kind of exotic batteries or anything like that?
No, sir. But if I can put a plug in, I do work on electric vehicles. This is a very low voltage vehicle. I do work on very high voltage vehicles at my shop in Lamont, Illinois.
Okay, so you're sort of a real electric car fan.
Pretty much.
Okay, what kind of performance does this thing get? What kind of speed can you cruise?
On this vehicle, it's rated at 38 miles per hour, but I have brought it up to about 45 downhill with a big wind behind me.
What about things like heaters, air conditioning, stuff like that?
This car, they did make it. It was built in Sebring, Florida, so they really didn't concern themselves with heat so much and air conditioning. It did have heat in it, but it was off the electric motor, and you're really not going to pull a lot of heat off an electric motor.
Not for Chicago winters?
No, sir.
Okay. Do you drive the car around a lot?
I just completed it early September. It's at my warehouse for a couple years, and then I just decided to get it on the road, and there's only about 600 left, okay? And I figured put it together, and I'm going to sell it because I have another project I'm going to be working on.
Okay, so you think there's some real future for electric cars?
Oh, I believe so. I mean, gasoline right now is, pretty low, but it's going to go up and up and up, Well,
I'll tell you something, folks. Once again, local summer car shows, not a bad place to go and take a look to see what the future might hold.
I thought it was cute. Now, as our regular viewers know, the Riverside Garage Show has become the home of a couple of awards that are near and dear to Motorsports Unlimited. They were created by longtime car collector and auto enthusiast Jerry Lockhart. Let's meet him and learn more.
Well, folks, those of you that have been watching Motorsports Unlimited for any length of time know that there's something special we do every year, and for the past few years, it's been at the Riverside show. This is something that Jerry Lockhart put together, and this is my old friend Jerry Lockhart. Where are you from, Jerry?
Lisle, Illinois. How
Mr.
many
Lisle.
years?
13 years.
Wow, we're getting old, Billy.
We're really getting old. 13 years, and it seems
Wow.
seems in many ways like yesterday.
yes,
it really
yes.
does. Tell the audience what this is about.
Well, we've lost some pioneers that started these shows originally. Your old partner, Chris Schutz, and Tom Lima, who originally did these car shows. And I look around here and I'm amazed at the cars and the people, what it's grown into. And there wouldn't be these shows without people like that. And needless to say you, but...
No, you're giving the credit to the right people for sure.
Yeah, they started something that's just amazing. If you think about it, we started these back in we were going like, I remember 85, 86 was when we started going to shows with Tommy, and when I met you originally. So
that was when there was 2 or 3 shows the entire summer,
Yeah.
and now there's 2 or 3 shows every weekend.
I wonder where all these cars come from. It amazes me.
It is amazing, and every show you go to, there's new ones you haven't seen before.
And each one's nicer than the next. It's
sure is
amazing.
All right, we have an award here. We have 2 awards that we give out every year, and this one is called the Tom Lima Award, and it honors Tom Lima for his efforts in really starting these local summer car shows. And every year you go around, and this does not, and we want to say this right off the bat, this does not mean these are the best cars in the show or the best cars in the class or anything like that. These are cars that we believe, in this case Tom Lima, this is a car that you think Tom Lima would have loved. Do I have it right?
Right. Tom was old school, and yeah, I basically look at every car here, and I do it 2, 3 times. But Tom had a certain style car, old school, and this car is definitely, he would love to have this in his garage.
Okay, sir, you are.
Frank Williams, Palos Hills, Illinois.
Give me a quick thumbnail of your car. Make, year, and model.
It's a 46 Ford Coupe. It's been chopped 3-inch rooftop, and all redone. Yeah.
Pleated and rolled. You got to say a tuck and roll interior, or Tom wouldn't have went for it.
Right, rolled and pleated interior, 350 Chevy engine with power glide transmission, power steering, power brake, air conditioning.
Chrome reverse wheels,
Yeah, great.
baby moons,
Yeah.
dual spotlights.
All old school. Fender skirts, Laker pipes.
Airbrushing, door handles removed.
So, Jerry, if you would, do
leg
the honors.
pipes.
Do the honors.
Well, in Tom's name, I want to present you with this reward of a trophy, and I hope you cherish this because, like I say, Tom was a pretty special guy.
And there's only one a year given out every year.
I do. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Congratulations to you. You deserve it.
Winner of the Tom Lima Award for 2009, and once again, your name?
Frank Williams
From?
Palos Hills, Illinois.
The Tom Lima Award.
In a way, Tom Lima and Jerry Lockhart have much in common. Tom was a rough on the outside, one-of-a-kind guy who was soft on the inside once you got to know him. Similarly, men don't come much tougher than Jerry Lockhart, yet he's as soft as they come inside. When Chris passed away unexpectedly, he was devastated and cried alongside of Bill. He was the first to arrive at her wake and the last to leave, emotionally supporting Bill the entire time. He never forgot the role she played in the creation and operation of Motorsports Unlimited. He knows better than anyone there wouldn't have been a Motorsports Unlimited without Chris Schutz. He doesn't want anyone to forget.
And of course, you know the award that's nearest and dearest to my heart is the Chris Schutz Award. And Jerry, perhaps you'd explain the Chris Schutz Award and what that's all about.
She used to be the glue of these shows. She's what got you to the show. Girls dressed in their uniforms, time on the shows. She did everything. There wouldn't be a show without Chris Schutz.
You're exactly right. As a matter of fact, for people who wonder why we don't have the girls on location anymore, it's because Chris passed away, and it's just impossible without her.
And needless to say, I wonder how many of your following realize that at the end of the show that's who the
I hope they always remember, because one of the things we want to make sure, and I know you feel the same way, is that we don't forget the people that made such a huge contribution to doing these shows.
Yeah, I think it's real important to know where we came from and how this all started. It's amazing what it grew into.
It really is. Now, the Chris Schutz Award is something we've been doing now since Chris passed away in 1996. It's hard to believe it's that long ago.
I can still remember how heartbreaking it was, and it seems like yesterday.
Yes, and you're probably wondering what this is all about. Chris Schutz was my wife, and she was also the one that made these shows possible.
I remember from the early shows. Yes.
Oh, you do?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And like I say, it's been very, very difficult without her and all that. And one thing we want to do is to make sure that certainly she's never forgotten. And Jerry came up with the idea of every year the Chris Schutz Award. So now, if you would, as a matter of fact, give me a quick thumbnail sketch of your car, and I'll explain why we picked this one.
Okay, it's a 1968 Dodge Dart Hemi Superstock clone. 426 4-speed, Dana rear end, radio heater, everything delete, fiberglass front end, and just basically a clone of a Hearst race car back from 1968.
Okay, and that has absolutely nothing whatsoever to do with why we picked this car in particular. The reason we picked this car is a long, convoluted story, and it has to do with that Chris was originally married to Todd, a friend of mine from high school, and Todd was a little different kind of guy on his car choices, and the car that he picked he was so proud of, he bought brand new, was a Ford Cortina, if you remember them. It was an English car sedan, but it had he thought it was like a sports car because it had a 4-speed stick sticking up and bucket seats, and she absolutely hated that car. She detested that thing, and finally, after about 2 years of abuse and ended up having an accident with that car, he ended up buying a Dodge Dart, and she loved the Dodge Dart. So all the rest of the years I picked cars because the guy did all the work and she admired what people could do and all that sort of thing. This year I picked it because I remember the story of how much she loved that Dodge Dart after that Ford Cortina, and on top of all that, the thing she liked more than that is she just loved the sound and rumble of the American V8s, and boy, this one sure has that rumble, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. It certainly does.
So this would be a Dart that she would have really loved. So, Jerry, if you would,
well,
please
I want
do
to add that, needless to say, Bill picks this every year. This is his car in memory of Chris. But I add this every year. Chris loved cars. She was a car freak. She knew about cars. And every year I tell everyone the same thing. She never had a driver's license, never drove a car.
And I couldn't talk her into it. Many times I tried to say, Chris, I'm not doing you any favors here. Chris, she was a person that said there was no better spectator. She went to all the races. She loved going to the races. She loved the cars and all that. But she says, Bill, some people should drive cars and some people shouldn't, and I shouldn't. So just leave me alone. so she didn't. So please go ahead and do the honors.
Well, in Chris Schutz's name and memory, I'd like to award you with this car. I hope you enjoy it for many years. It's a special award from both of us.
Well, thank you very much.
I hope you appreciate it. Like I say, once a year these are given.
I do, Bill. Thank you. I remember very well, and thank you. This will be my favorite one.
Okay, the 2009 Chris Schutz Award winner, once again, your name?
My name is Bob Fleischer.
Thank you so much. The award winner 2009.
We hope Bob Fleischer and Frank Williams fully appreciate what these awards represent. Now let's get back to the cars with a very special Pontiac convertible.
Well, I thought we were going to go an entire second show and not be able to find the person that owned this car. When we were at the Odyssey car show earlier this year, I spotted this thing and wanted to get the folks on the air. They're part of the American Street Machines Car Club, and I'll be darned if I could find them. After what happened today, I can see what happens. She's ducking me. First of all, you are?
Ruth Fields.
And you're ducking me?
Yes.
Well, stop it, because it's hard for me to stand in the sun waiting for people.
Okay.
Tell me about your car and start with the make, year, and model.
It's a Pontiac Trans Am 1998.
And I understand this was built just for you.
Yes, correct. From Southside Customs.
Okay, the thing that I am most taken by this thing is first of all, it's a gorgeous paint job and all of that. But beyond that, I love the work that's been done covering the rear seats, what I would refer to as a sort of a tonneau cover.
Yes, they built a box. They took the rear seats out and built a box.
Okay, and put in speakers or something there?
Yeah, the speakers are towards the bottom and they have amplifiers.
Okay, it reminds me of the 4-seat Thunderbirds. There were a couple of years that that Ford Motor Company actually was an option for the Thunderbirds to cover the rear seat with a fiberglass cover, and I thought it made the car very slick. And when I saw what you guys had done here, I says, that reminds me of the same thing. I am surprised more people don't pick up on this. I think it's very cool.
Thank you.
Okay.
I like it.
You like it too?
Yes.
Who gets to drive the car? Is it just you or does your husband drive it
My
most of the time?
husband drives it too, but mostly it's me.
But really? This is what you drive?
Yes.
Okay. Anything done to the engine, trans, anything like that?
No.
It's everything is stock?
Yes. There's just a few modifications in there, just a few things that they put underneath there. Nothing major.
And a lot of interior modifications?
Yes.
Yes, I see.
Yes.
I love the way they continued the I'm going to call it the body work from the tonneau cover down through the console and into the front seats.
Mm-hmm.
Very nicely done.
Thank you.
Okay, is there anything about your car that I've missed that you think the audience would find interesting or that you're proud of?
The amplifiers go up and down.
Oh, these go up and down? Okay, was it when you turn the radio on and off, something like that?
No, I have from the remote or inside the car, there's a switch.
Separate switch?
Yes.
Okay. Now, this wasn't so bad, was it?
No.
Okay, see, she's been ducking me now for 2 shows. I didn't realize it.
Next, Bill encountered a man who has been watching Motorsports Unlimited for a very long period of time and understands you don't have to be a biker to enjoy a road trip.
It is always nice to meet folks that for some reason I end up having email exchanges with. And here's a fellow, how long has it been?
I've emailed you for the last like 3 or 4 years since you went on your Kansas City road trip, I think, on your bike.
Okay, it's been a while. Tell the folks who you are.
My name's Norman Fensky. I'm from Willowbrook, Illinois.
Okay, and we're going to get to that part in a moment, but let's talk about your car first. Give me the make, year, and model.
I have a 1986 Cutlass Salon.
Okay, tell me about the rest of it.
It is, I put a 403 out of a 79 Firebird, board over, 30 over.
That's a 403. Now, is that a big block 403 or
no,
a small block 403?
Small block Olds 403.
Okay.
30 over, 9.5 pistons. It's backed by a turbo hydromatic 350. I got a 342 posi rear end.
Did you do any of the work?
I built the motor with help from my friends, but I primarily built the motor. I had a friend of mine 2 years ago help me because I was having starting issues. A friend of mine turned me on to another gentleman, and he helped me with the timing issues and dressed up the motor real nice for me. The transmission, I had Superior Transmission in Downers Grove. They did the transmission for me, and I had a place in Oak Lawn, and I can't think of the name off the top of my head, who did the rear end for me.
What about the body work? The car is in exceptional condition.
Body work, I've had it, believe it or not, I've had it for 15 years. The body work was originally done in 1996 by a place in Oak Lawn, Your Body's Mine. A friend of mine's brother owned a shop. And then I had it touched up 2-3 years ago by Deluxe Auto Works in West Chicago, Illinois.
It's an exquisite car. How old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm 43.
Okay, you look much younger than that. Of course,
Thank
at my
you.
age, everybody looks much
Thank
younger.
you.
Did you find it to be a good learning experience?
Very much so. I've loved cars. My dad got me into cars a long time ago, and I worked as a mechanic for a few years, and that just turned me on to building a car. And I always wanted a Cutlass. I always wanted something that went fast, and I built the motor for my 83 originally. That failed emissions and stuff. I found this one in the paper. I built the motor for just a Sunday drive and go out have fun with it.
And what do you do with the car?
Take it out as often as I got like 3,000 miles on the car already this season. I just drive it.
So you are using it?
I use it all the time.
Cars are made to be used. It would be
That's
a darn
right.
shame to leave them parked.
That's
really
absolutely right. And it's been rained on. It's been, you know, it hasn't been snowed on. I keep it in the garage during the wintertime, but it's been rained on. It's been lightning. I took it to Bloomington a few times. I've taken it to Odell for the restored gas station down there. I've taken it to Dwight, Kankakee, into Indiana, out to Streeter. I've taken it to Lake Geneva a couple of weeks ago. I just drive the heck out of it.
Well, one of the things that I find interesting, when I started doing the motorcycle road trip shows, I was a little concerned about how the public would react to them, because I thought maybe this is going to be a narrow thing, that really it's only the bikers that like this sort of thing and all that. Surprisingly enough, of all of the things that we do on Motorsports Unlimited, the motorcycle road trips get us the most positive reaction. And you don't have to be a biker, apparently, to enjoy those road trips.
Not at all. I'm enthralled by the trip. Like you went to Kankakee a couple of years ago. It was just a lot of fun to watch the scenery go by. I mean, you always say, you know, with the bike or like an open roadster, I got an open top car. I mean, it's not a convertible. It's an open top car, but I love going on road trips. And you went to Kankakee, or not Kankakee, you went to Kentucky, you went to New York.
You do watch.
The New York trip to me was fascinating because...
It was to me too. A trip back to my boyhood home after 50 years. Yeah.
Exactly. And then you went to Kansas City. You know, Kansas City, here I come. You went to the intersection.
The birthplace of the song.
Exactly. But the road trips to me I wish I could do more of them, but with work and everything like that, time's consumed.
And yet you're not a biker.
No, not at all.
But you like the shows.
I love the shows. I wish I could ride a bike. I have a friend who does have a bike.
Bikes. Listen, bikes, please. If I haven't made this clear already.
Oh, you have, yeah.
Motorcycles are not for everyone.
Right.
What I'm trying to do is give people the inspiration to take on these road trips. You don't have to do it on a bike. You obviously have proven you can do it in your Cutlass.
You can do it in the Cutlass. Just get in the car. You know, wish I had somebody with me.
Get off the interstate.
Get off the interstate. Take the 2-lane. Take the 4 lanes. I've gone down 66 as far as Bloomington, a little further south than Bloomington. I've taken old Route 45. I mean, old Route 45
right, sure.
from Gilman all the way north into Kankakee, because now
There are some wonderful roads and wonderful adventures out there.
In the old, I think I've emailed you a couple of times. You mentioned I like old service stations. I'll find an old service station. I'll stop. I'll get pictures of the car with an old service station.
As a matter of fact, you were the one. And did I use your picture on the air?
Not yet. Not that I have seen. Not that
because I'm pretty sure I used one that somebody sent me for one of the gas stations that we had. And you've got a thing here.
Yes, I've done a thing here. He had a couple of years ago when he did his trip to Kansas City. He stopped at this station in Odell, and on the gift bag here they have a picture from Odell from 2000. I emailed you and said, Bill, I have pictures from the station before it was restored in 1988. And here's a picture they put on the bag in Odell from the 1988 trip that I took way back when, and I wanted to give you this bag because I figured you went on this trip, you talk about your trips, I figured it'd be a neat souvenir because you mentioned about the picture.
Well, I very much appreciate it. Folks, here is my kind of viewer.
Thank you very much, sir.
The gift was a nice gesture, but most important is learning we have inspired someone to hit the road and enjoy the adventure of a road trip and to do it in your own way. Very cool. Now, with time running out, Bill spotted the final statement of the Buick Nailhead V8.
Folks, I've got the answer solved here. If you remember, a couple of weeks ago we did the Willow Springs show, and we had a fella on there that had a what he thought was a Nailhead Buick engine, and that is, so it was a 455. And I says, boy, I don't think so. I remember those Nailhead engines very well, and it seemed to me the biggest, baddest Nailhead they ever produced was 425 cubic inches. Well, guess what? I've got one of them here. First of all, you are
Jake Gaffney and Brian Gaffney.
And where are you from?
We're from Plainfield.
Tell me about your car. Start with the make, year, and model.
It's a 1965 425, 365 horse, dual quads Grand Sport.
Grand Sport, and this was a very rare Buick Riviera.
Correct.
How many years did they make the Grand Sport?
They only made the Grand Sport for, I think, 3 years.
Okay, the Buick Riviera, we got to talk to our younger viewers now because people don't even know what a Riviera was. A Riviera was essentially a luxury dream car boat, something that you might see at the auto show, and it was actually kind of unusual for them to put a dual quad 425 cubic engine in a car like this.
Exactly. I know they didn't put them in. They call this an iron fist and a velvet glove.
There you go. That's probably the right way to do it. Now, did you have any involvement with this at all?
Not really.
Okay, so your dad is the car guy?
Yeah, me and my dad.
We both are.
It's
both of ours.
It's both of our cars.
Okay, I want to ask you a question. Is there anything much cooler than working on a car with your son?
Nope.
Is that what life is about, or what?
Exactly.
Right.
And I'll bet you're too young to appreciate it.
No, I love the car.
Yeah,
I remember these
But
cars.
what about the relationship with your dad while you're working on them?
Oh, it's great.
Too young to appreciate it, or?
No, you're never too young.
Okay, well, you know what I mean. Usually about the time we get to be 50, 60 years old is when we start appreciating those moments.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
yes.
And you're, I'm sure, old enough to appreciate it.
Correct.
Okay, was the car in this condition when you got it, or did you work on it?
Basically, it was this condition, and then we had some work done on it.
We had the engine redone.
We had the engine redone, and completely gone through.
Let's talk about the engine. As I explained, my first stock car used a Buick 322 Buick engine. The Buick was always a straight 8 engine company, and they came out with their V8 in 1953. And peculiarly enough, in 1953, you could get either a straight 8 or the V8
exactly.
because they weren't totally confident in the V8 yet. Okay,
right.
You remember?
I was working. In 53, I was working from my uncle's garage on 67th and Ashland, J&J Auto. I worked there from the time I was 5 years old, running wrenches and picking up parts for him.
That's how you're a Buick fan.
Exactly.
Okay.
And he was a Buick man too, all his life.
Right. Well, in the 322 Buick, there was a lot to boast of it. I won't go through, I've done it before on the show. I don't want to go through the whole thing, but it eventually became a 364, and then probably the most famous version, one that most people heard, was the 401. The 401 Nailhead was probably the most famous. And then just before they stopped, the emissions required different engine designs, different cylinder heads, and they went to the 455 and all that. But the last and the baddest of the Nailhead V8s was the 425 cubic inch dual quad model, and that's what you've got.
Exactly. It's a LX number. It's a numbers matching car.
Okay. How does it perform on the road?
Fantastic.
Yeah,
100 miles an hour like nothing, like you're gliding.
Yes, I'll tell you something. People who don't never experience cars from this generation are really missing something. They really are.
Exactly. They don't make them like this no more.
They really don't, and it is kind of a special pleasure. Now, is there anything I've missed about your car you're particularly proud of, you'd like the audience to know about?
We just love the car. I mean, the way it looks, all the remarks we get for it, all the compliments, no matter where we go.
How about yourself? Are you too young to appreciate it, or you enjoy it
No,
too?
I enjoy this car extremely well.
Okay, folks, it sounds to me like the right people own it.
If we hurry, we might be able to squeeze in one more. Art's friend and golf partner has a very bad CUDA.
Well, I want to warn our viewers right off the bat that we're going to be going out on this one. They had such an incredible turnout today that I didn't show you 0.1% of the cars that they've got on hand. It's embarrassing. It's the toughest thing I have to do on Motorsports Unlimited is to decide what to put on, because every car here is worthy of the attention. It's always a challenge to pick the cars, and now I've got a guy here who we seem to pick every time because I guess he has a wide range of cars, because I always insist that the person have another car, and he's got another car. You are?
Rich Santangelo from Oak Lawn.
And now, guess what? I think even a badder ride. Tell us, what have we got here?
A 1974 Plymouth Cuda, and it's been a 440 blown.
Big GMC blower, 2 4-barrel carburetors on it. If I remember our last conversations, you're not a person that exactly does the work on them yourself.
No,
Okay.
I just enjoy them.
I was going to say, it seems to me that for a person to really enjoy and appreciate a car like this, you have to kind of be a mechanical guy and do your own work. But you sort of are the example of the opposite of that.
Well, you know, I hope everybody that's watching this gets the idea too. You don't have to be that
perfect. Keep going. That's what I want to tell them.
Yeah.
Keep going.
I
Yes.
mean, I wish more people would get involved like I do. I mean, I enjoy cars. I love cars. I love being out here and talking to people and seeing all the different cars. I leave mine here. I go walk around and see what else is.
We're done. As always, we're out of time too soon, with only enough left to acknowledge the fine work of our award-winning production team, including Tom McGrady, Art Lauschat, our webmaster, Frank Barbalace, and Sue Casanda. Special thanks to JBTV's Jerry Bryant. Music is created for us by independent artists Roger Pauley and Jerry Herbert. Of course, we have to take a moment to thank the stars of this edition of Motorsports Unlimited: Janine Lauschat, May Chin, and our host, Bill Wildt. Me, I'm Samantha Bentley, hoping you enjoyed the 2009 Outdoor Summer Car Show season and are looking forward to next year. In the meantime, get those snowmobiles ready. Thanks for watching. See you next week.
This program made possible in part by support from Jimmy's Red Hots, located on Grant Avenue and Pulaski Road in Chicago.
This program made possible in part by support from ABC Auto Parts, located on Ashland Avenue at 138th Street in Blue Island, Illinois.
Motorsports Unlimited is produced by Bill Wildt, president of the Motorsport Advancement Crusade.
This program made possible in part by support from Bridgestone Firestone and your local Bridgestone Firestone tire retailers.
This program made possible in part by support from Copy That, located in the County Farm Plaza at County Farm Road and Army Trail Road in Carroll Stream, Illinois.
This program made possible in part by support from J.C. Whitney & Company, located just off I-80 at the Utica exit in LaSalle, Illinois.
Motorsports Unlimited was created to raise public consciousness, understanding, and appreciation of the motorsport community and their activities. You can contact us by email at msutv.com, or you can write to Motorsport, P.O. Box 66242, Chicago, Illinois, 60666. We enjoy hearing from our audience. Please let us know what you think.
Next week on Motorsports Unlimited, we're going to have something very special, as we always do. But we don't know what it'll be yet, because in our effort to get these shows on the air as quickly as possible, we overrun our shooting schedule. Join us next week on Motorsports Unlimited and see what we come up with. We know it'll be cool.
So that's it, another edition of Motorsports Unlimited and the lovely ladies of motorsports. And be with us next week, because we'll have something real exciting. Bill Wildt's going to have the lovely ladies, and just about anything can happen right here on Motorsports Unlimited. Every week at this time, we bring you the best in motorsports. So be seeing ya. Bye-bye, and keep on rocking.